Hey, it's me again, and again, this video will not be edited. I promise to have videos edited in the future. Someday I'm going to learn to edit videos. Today is not that day. However, I thought I would like to talk to you today about what I call the essential ABCs of dog training. Now, this is just one trainer's opinion, and like I said before, there are many ways to train dogs, and there's a lot of opinions. Opinions are about like belly buttons. Everybody's got one. So I think this information has been helpful for me as I enjoy the results I get when I train my dogs this way, and I have also taught this in my obedience classes, my companion obedience classes. So it can also, ABCs of dog training can make your life a little less stressful. It can provide structure and confidence for your dog, and it's a safety measure also. So there's a good reason to participate in the ABCs just for safety reasons alone. So let's break this down. The ABCs of dog training. I call that alone. Dogs need to learn to be alone. They need to learn to be bored, and they need to learn to be confined. And there's a lot of controversy in the confinement part especially. But alone, your dog needs to learn that it can be alone, that the world is not going to fall apart when we constantly have a dog that we're babysitting, or we have somebody else babysitting that's never learned to be alone. It's never learned to deal with the situation it's in. Then that can lead to some separation anxiety. And I always say, hey, let your dog learn that it also does not have to be entertained constantly by you at the house. So a lot of times I will put my dog in a crate in a different room while I'm moving around my house, so the dog learns that, sometimes you just got to be there for a while until I come and get you, because we never know what situations may pop up. Another thing that I like for my dogs to learn is how to be bored. Again, you should not have to entertain your dog all the time and have something constant in front of it. It needs to learn that sometimes we just sit down and are here. Or sometimes we rest, and then we get up and exercise, and then we get up and play. And that kind of needs to be on your terms. But there are times when the dog needs to be calm and settled and by your side, or laying on the placemat and beside you, and it's okay to be bored. Because those situations are going to pop up in life. We can't always set the dog up in the perfect situation all the time. So my dog is never bored. My dog is never confined. My dog is never alone. That's not sustainable. So my dog needs to learn to be alone. It needs to learn to be bored, and it needs to learn to be confined. And that confinement falls into some controversy with people, because some people do not believe in crate training. They feel sorry for the dog, or they don't do it correctly. The dog is stressed out. But it not only applies to crates, but it can apply to X pens or baby gates, or anything that I put up as a barrier to that dog being confined. I need my dog to respect that. And I'm not saying that you have to put your dog up in a crate and you never get the dog out and it spends 20 hours a day there. That's not what I mean by confined. What I mean by being confined is the dog can handle being put in a crate and not stress out and not hurt itself. Because believe it or not, a dog can hurt itself pretty badly in a crate. And I have some good examples of why it is important. And we've seen recently the hurricane that hit in North Carolina. I mean, if my dog is not confined, the dogs that were rescued have to go to crates. They have to be moved in crates. If my dog is so stressed out it can't stay in a crate and it's hurting itself, or it chews its way out of its crate, there's a good possibility that dog can get hurt. Another reason is, what if my dog gets hurt and it has to be put up for healing time? Well, again, slow down a dog's healing time, or it can make an injury even worse trying to get out of a crate if it doesn't understand a crate. So those two things alone are important. But guess what? When your dog goes to a groomer, most of the time that dog is then going to have to be crated or in a crate bank. And I was actually a groomer for a little bit, and I actually saw a dog rip its toenail off because it was so scared in that pen, and we had to confine the dog. The next thing we know, we turn around, there's blood everywhere because the dog didn't understand how to be confined. So those reasons alone are important, but they're very practical. And yeah, crates can be used improperly. Crates can be cruel, but so can a leash. Almost anything can be cruel with a dog if you don't do it correctly. So I encourage you to learn how to teach your dog to accept a crate correctly in stages. I encourage you how to work with your dog on being alone and being bored. Work with a professional if you don't understand, but definitely do that work with them. It will benefit you in the long run. It reduces stress on your life and the dog's life because the dog is getting structure. It also, like I said, with a crate can be a huge safety concern. And we may not worry too much about natural disasters. We do have tornadoes here in Alabama, and so it's always a possibility. But you also got to think, if you're traveling in a car with the dog and then you have a wreck, that crate can protect the dog, number one. But should your dog not be in a crate and your dog get loose, and the dog was picked up and it had to go in a crate somewhere, it's already panicked because of the wreck. Now it's going to be panicked because of the crate also. But wrecks are you're more likely to have a wreck than get hit by a tornado. I hope. I don't know the statistics on that, but definitely, kind of think ahead of the game. With the dogs, it's much easier to train a young dog than it is an older dog, but it is possible to train an older dog, so don't think that you've missed out on that opportunity. So I think these things are pretty important to dog training. I think they've benefited my dogs well, and I've seen them benefit dogs well altogether. So I do encourage you to participate in the ABCs of dog training. Thank you.